almost to the end of 8.6, a couple other small pieces to deal with. We saw that by definition, I is the square root of -1. That was our first fact. And we said if we squared both sides of this equation, we would end up with -1 is equal to I squared. And these were both our kind of our two major facts of the section. Right? But what would happen if I continued down this line and I found other powers of I? Since I squared was so nice, is I to the third nice? Is I to the fourth nice? How do I know what I to a different power is? So, right, essentially, right, we could see what happens if we just keep multiplying by I. Let me find my other marker. If I multiply both sides of this equation by I times I, right, I'm going to end up with I to the third is equal to -1 times I, which would be -I. Right? If I multiply this side, but again, if we do it again, times I, I'm going to end up with I to the fourth equals -I squared. Pause real quick. Alright, we're back here. I to the fourth equaling -I squared. Right, but we already know I squared is -1. Right, so this is going to be -1, which would be +1. Okay, so if I get rid of all these pieces in here, we actually have the first four parts of this sequence. Right? And I'm actually going to erase these middle terms as well. Right, we found out that I to the fourth equals +1. Right? So we have a definition for I squared, I to the third, and I to the fourth. And notice, if I to the fourth equals 1, if I go one more time here, and I multiply by I and I, I'm going to have I to the fifth equals I. Okay? That gets me back to the first one. I to the sixth is going to be -1. I to the seventh is going to be -I. And I to the eighth is going to equal +1. They just keep repeating over and over again. So we really have these as my first four definitions for I, and I'm just going to say I as I instead of calling it the square root of -1. So I is I squared is -1, I to the third is -I, and I to the fourth is +1. And then rinse and repeat. So I, -1, -y, I. Okay, so if I want to find the power of I just have to know which one of these it matches up with. Does it match up with I squared, I to the third, or I to the fourth? The easy way to do that is just to check the power and see how it's divisible by 4. Right? So I'm going to try, see how many times 4 goes into 76. Right, 4 goes into 76 once, 36, 19 times. So it goes into it perfectly. Right, since it goes into it perfectly, this is going to be the same as I to the fourth. Right, since it is a multiple of 4. Right, every multiple of 4, right, is equal to 1. I to the fourth, I to the 8th, I to the 12th, I to the 16th. So since 76 is a multiple of 4, I know it's the same thing as I to the fourth. And we know I to the fourth is equal to 1. Same thing, we'll go with I to the 53rd, but I'm going to check how many times 4 goes into 53. It goes into it once. 1. 4 goes into 13 3 times, that's 12, with a remainder of 1. And all that really matters is the remainder. Because 4 goes into 53 13 times, that gets me to 52. So 52 is a multiple of 4. 53 would be the next one in the list. So this is the same thing as I. So all we're really looking at is what the remainder is, and that's going to be the one that you match it up with. I to the first, I to the second, I to the third, or I to the fourth. All right, so let's do one more. That has I to the 19th. So again, we can just check how many times 4 goes into 19. Doesn't really matter, it's just the remainder. Goes into it 4 times, with a remainder of 3. Right, the remainder of 3 is telling me it's going to be I to the first, I to the second, it's going to be I to the third. Which is really equal to negative I. Okay, so every single one of your answers for these is going to be one of these 4 options. You just have to figure out which option it's going to be.